Alright, so looking at 1.5 notes. So it says for each graph, select all symmetries that apply. So it says reflect across the x-axis. So when I reflect my line across the x-axis, that now changes to look like this. So this is not symmetry because it's not the same as it was before. Next, it says to reflect across the y-axis. Here is my y-axis right here. Oops, sorry, y'all. Alright, so here's my y-axis right here. When I reflect that line across the y-axis again, it is still going to be right here, which isn't the same as what we had before. However, when I take the line and move it around the origin, so here's my line right here. When I move it 90 degrees, it's here. When I move it 80 degrees, it's back here. So the origin is the only thing that changes. Graph 2, reflect across the x-axis. Here's my x right here. When I reflect across the x-axis, it's still going to be the same. Mama. When I reflect across the y-axis, my circle is going to be here. So that changes. It's not going to be the same. It changes. When I rotate around the origin, so that means I'm moving 180 degrees around the origin. When I rotate around the origin, my graph is still going to be here. So this changes. Okay? Your square, when you reflect across the x-axis, it's the same. When you reflect across the y-axis, it's the same. When you rotate it 180 degrees, it's still the same. Moving on to graphing a precise defined function. So, since f of x equals 8, f of x equals 8 means my graph is just going to be straight across like this. However, there are some restrictions. It says that your x values have to be less than -4. So here's -4. Sorry, let me go back and fix that for y'all. Here we go. Here's 8. But it says x is -4. So they're saying all my values have to be less than -4. Well, all my x values, there's -4. All my x values have to be less than -4. So that green line is your answer. It's an open circle because it only said less than. Next, it says -10x plus x squared. Well, that x squared, I know that's going to be a parabola just by looking at my graph sheet. So, with that being said, I have a parabola, but then it says -10. So my parabola is going to look somewhat like this. But again, there's restrictions. I know my x has to be greater than -4, greater than or equal to -4, but less than 4. So I am going to come over here and substitute that in the formula to find out what the y value is. So -10 plus x, x is -4 squared, but I'm also going to do it for that +4 as well. So -10 plus, there's x again, 4 squared. So when I solve this, I get 6 here and 6 here. So that order pair is -4 and 6 and 4 and 6. So that's where my restrictions are. Let me go back and redo our graph. So we're here. We know we're at -10. So -4 and 6, and that was a closed circle. So I'm gonna close it. And then 4 and 6, and that one was a open circle. So I'll leave it open. And I'm gonna erase that red because that was just a mock for us to use until we figured out the restrictions. Okay. Connect these back. There we go. All right. Number 3. Suppose that the function h is defined on the interval -2 into as follows. So the reason why they do not start at -2, but they include 2, because this is saying everything less than -2. I'm sorry, everything greater than -2. So that's why we got -1, 0, 1, and 2. This is saying including 2 and less than. So -1. Where is -1 in these intervals? -1 is within this interval because it's or equal to. Even though this is a -1 as well, this is saying all the values are greater than -1. Not or equal to. This one is or equal to. So my answer is -1 because that's the output. Well, where is -0.5? -0.5 is going to be in between here, because this is too small for -0.5. These are positives, so our answer is 0. Lastly, where is 1? That is or equal to. This one is just saying all the values are greater than 1. So my answer is 1. Moving on to number 4. So I told you guys if it's x minus h or x plus h, this is going to the right, this is going to the left. X plus h or minus h squared plus k, that's going up. X plus or minus h squared minus k is going down. So this is saying -5 squared, so I'm going to the right because it matches this one. And then -4, so I'm going down because it matches this one. So let's do it. To the right, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're here. Let's look at number 5. An easy way to look at this is, well, my exponent is odd, so the answer is odd. One is even, the other is odd, so it's neither. When I cut this down, it reflects with respect to y, symmetry. So if I fold that paper in half, those two lines will kiss. So that's why this one is even. Whereas when I fold these in half, well, that graph is now going to be on this side, and this graph now is going to be on this side. So those don't kiss. However, when I look at it with respect to the origin, so my line hook was here. When I continue that on, it's here. When I continue it on one more to 180, it's here. So this is odd.